Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of testing a witness account: checking whether it actually matches the non-human evidence. By non-human evidence, we mean things like documents, digital records, and physical details from a scene. This is the kind of evidence that doesn't rely on memory. Instead, it gives us something more objective to compare against what people are saying. And in many cases, this is what helps move an investigation away from he said, she said, and toward a conclusion based on the preponderance of evidence. Let's start with documents. Documents often play a central role because they were created at the time things happened, not reconstructed later from memory. Things like emails, chat logs, contracts, HR files, or attendance records can either strongly support a claim or directly contradict it. Sometimes documents are the main evidence in a case, for example, a series of offensive emails in a harassment complaint. Other times, they provide important background context, like performance reviews showing how a manager documented past issues, or payroll and inventory records showing when something went missing. There's also a key principle called the best evidence rule. In simple terms, it means the original document carries the most weight. If you're working from a copy, you need to understand why the original isn't available and make sure the copy can still be trusted. In practice, investigators often rely on a standard set of records: badge swipe logs for location, attendance records for presence, performance evaluations for context, and financial documents like invoices or receipts when looking at misconduct or fraud. Next are digital traces, which are now a major part of most investigations. These include system logs, metadata, audit trails, and other electronically stored information. Even though this type of evidence is often circumstantial, it can be extremely powerful because it quietly records what people actually did, not just what they remember doing. For example, metadata can show when a file was created or edited, which helps establish timelines or identify whether something has been altered. System logs can show who accessed a system and when, which can confirm or contradict a person's statement about their actions or presence. Because digital data can be changed or deleted very easily, investigators also pay attention to data integrity. Techniques like hash values, essentially digital fingerprints, help confirm whether a file has been tampered with. If the hash matches, the file is unchanged. If it doesn't, something has been altered. And because digital evidence is fragile, it has to be handled carefully. Investigators use proper forensic methods to make sure they don't accidentally overwrite or damage the original data during collection. Then we have physical evidence and scene details. This is the tangible, real-world information from the environment, things like damaged equipment, objects at a scene, or physical conditions that relate to the event. Physical evidence can sometimes be decisive because it either exists or it doesn't. A key part of this is scene verification. Investigators often go back to the location to test whether what a witness is saying is actually possible. This includes checking lighting, distance, noise levels, and line of sight. For example, in one case, a witness claimed they identified a person's face from 421 feet away at 2 a.m. When investigators measured the distance and assessed the lighting, it became clear that this level of identification simply wasn't physically possible. That kind of check is often where claims are either supported or fall apart. Physical evidence also requires careful handling through something called chain of custody. That means every person who touches or handles the evidence must be recorded, step by step, so there's no question later about whether it was altered or contaminated. Once all of this is collected, the next step is to reconcile it with what people are saying. Investigators check whether testimony fits with documents, digital records, and physical facts. If someone says they weren't present but badge logs show they entered the building, that's a direct contradiction. If they say they didn't make a purchase, but there's a signed receipt or invoice, the document carries significant weight. In some cases, documents or digital evidence are also used to help refresh memory, especially when a witness's recall is incomplete or inconsistent. That can help clarify timelines or fill in gaps. Investigators also separate information into two categories: facts that are not in dispute and facts that are in dispute. The undisputed facts become the foundation of the analysis. The disputed ones are then tested against all available evidence to see which version actually holds up. Finally, if new documents or digital evidence contradict someone's account, procedural fairness requires that they are given a chance to respond. The goal isn't to ambush anyone else to test whether there is a reasonable explanation that fits all the facts. At the end of the day, non-human evidence acts as an anchor. It doesn't replace witness testimony, but it grounds it. And when everything is compared together, statements, documents, digital traces, and physical reality, you get a much clearer picture of what most likely happened.